The clash of titans was inevitable, two powers, equally matched, yet polar opposites in philosophy, governance, and ambition. Athens, the cradle of democracy and naval supremacy, and Sparta, the militaristic land power, disciplined and formidable. Their rivalry had brewed beneath the surface for decades, simmering through alliances and skirmishes. But now, war was inevitable. This is the story of the Archidamian War, the first crucial chapter of the Peloponnesian War, a conflict that would alter the destiny of Greece for generations to come. Long before the Spartan phalanx set foot on Athenian soil, the foundations of the Peloponnesian War had been laid. Following the united Greek victory over Persia in the Greco-Persian Wars, the city-states Athens, Sparta, Corinth, and others were left to forge their own paths. Athens, emboldened by its success and possessing a powerful navy, began to build what would later be known as the Athenian Empire, asserting dominance over the Aegean Sea through the Delian League. This coalition, initially created to defend against Persian threats, soon became a tool for Athenian expansion and control, with member states often forced into compliance under the weight of Athenian power. Sparta, the leader of the Peloponnesian League, and its allies watched with mounting concern. Corinth, an influential and well-established ally of Sparta, viewed Athens' growing influence as a direct threat. Tensions came to a head after a series of confrontations involving Athens and Corinth, culminating in the battles of Sphacteria and the Siege of Plataea in 433 to 430 to BCE. These incidents underscored the hostilities and created a call to arms among Sparta's allies. Finally, in 431 BCE, Sparta, led by King Archidamus II, declared war on Athens, marking the beginning of the Archidamian War. As war began, the Spartans and their allies developed a straightforward, yet effective plan rooted in their strengths: overwhelming land invasions of Athenian territory. With their mighty hoplite army, they would march on Attica, the fertile region surrounding Athens, hoping to draw the Athenians out into open battle and thus destroy them in a traditional land conflict. Each year, from 431 to 425 BCE, Spartan forces crossed into Attica with a vast and well-organized army, burning fields, destroying farms, and attempting to starve the Athenians into submission. Archidamus II himself led the first of these invasions. The sight of Attica ablaze was meant to bring Athens to its knees, but the city held its ground. This strategy relied on Athens, feeling the pain of losing its lands and resources. But what Sparta hadn't counted on was the resilience and strategic ingenuity of Athenian leadership. Unlike Sparta, Athens knew that its strength did not lie on land. Pericles, the brilliant Athenian general and statesman, recognized this reality and devised a different strategy, one of defensive caution combined with aggressive naval action. Rather than meeting Sparta's formidable army in open battle, Pericles decided that Athens would instead abandon the countryside, retreat behind the city's long walls, and maintain access to the sea. The Long Walls, fortifications that connected Athens to its port of Pylos, meant that Athens could rely on its powerful navy to import essential supplies and continue trade. Even while under siege, the idea was simple but revolutionary. By avoiding land battles with the Spartans and leaning on its naval superiority, Athens could outlast Spartan aggressions. Pericles' policy was one of attrition, designed to frustrate and exhaust the Spartans rather than defeat them in one decisive clash. However, his reliance on the Long Walls would soon have tragic consequences. In 430 BCE, disaster struck Athens in the form of a plague, likely brought by crowded and unsanitary conditions within the city. Pericles' strategy of abandoning the countryside and gathering people behind the city walls inadvertently created the perfect conditions for an epidemic. The plague spread rapidly, killing a staggering 1/3 of Athens' population and decimating its army. Athens was devastated, and the psychological blow was even more profound. Among the countless dead was Pericles himself, the architect of Athenian strategy, who succumbed to the plague in 429 BCE. This loss left Athens leaderless and struggling to maintain cohesion. For several years, the plague ravaged the city, undermining its morale and significantly weakening its ability to defend itself. Although Spartan invasions continued, they did not enter the city directly, fearing the illness might spread to their ranks. As Athens struggled with its own internal crisis, a strategic blow was dealt to one of its most steadfast allies. The city of Plataea, located in Boeotia, was a key ally of Athens and held strategic significance. In 429 BCE, Thebes, Sparta's close ally, laid siege to Plataea. The siege was brutal and protracted, with Plataea's citizens holding out against overwhelming odds. After enduring years of hunger, hardship, and isolation, Plataea finally surrendered to Theban forces in 427 BCE. The fall of Plataea was a moral victory for Sparta, signaling the growing reach and power of the Peloponnesian League. Though Sparta's land invasions had largely failed to break Athenian resistance, Athens achieved a major victory in 425 BCE that shifted the war's momentum. The Athenian general Demosthenes fortified Pylos on the western Peloponnesian coast, which prompted a Spartan attack. In a surprising turn of events, Athens managed to trap a group of Spartan soldiers on the small island of Sphacteria. The situation escalated, and after an intense battle, Athens captured over 120 Spartan hoplites, including members of Sparta's elite warrior class. This was an enormous blow to Spartan pride, as these prisoners shattered the aura of Spartan invincibility. They were kept as leverage, creating a tense standoff that forced Sparta to reconsider its approach to the war. The capture of Spartan warriors on Sphacteria proved that even the formidable Spartans could be outmaneuvered, marking a turning point in the Archidamian phase of the conflict. While Sparta regrouped in the south, the war took a new direction in northern Greece. Brasidas, one of Sparta's most talented and bold generals, launched a series of campaigns designed to weaken Athens' control over its empire. By capturing Amphipolis, a critical Athenian stronghold in Thrace that controlled access to vital trade routes, Brasidas struck at the heart of Athenian influence and economic stability. In the north, Brasidas rallied disaffected Athenian allies, encouraging them to defect to the Spartan cause. His successes were a major threat to Athenian interests. However, in 422 BCE, Brasidas and the Athenian general Cleon met in the Battle of Amphipolis, where both leaders were killed. With these pivotal figures gone, both Athens and Sparta were left to re-evaluate their positions. After a decade of bloodshed, and with key military leaders lost, both Athens and Sparta sought respite. The Peace of Nicias, named after the Athenian general who brokered it, was signed in 421 BCE. The treaty was supposed to last 50 years, offering a much-needed break from the cycle of raids, sieges, and battles. However, the peace was fragile. Deep-seated hostilities and unresolved conflicts still lingered between the two superpowers. Though the Archidamian War officially ended with the Peace of Nicias, it was only a temporary pause in the overall Peloponnesian War. The Peace of Nicias may have halted the fighting, but it did not heal the underlying tensions or resolve the competing ambitions that had drawn Greece's two greatest city-states into war. The Archidamian War was more than a clash of armies. It was a struggle of ideologies, strategies, and resilience. Pericles' cautious, naval approach contrasted with Sparta's reliance on land dominance, exposing core differences between the two powers. For Athens, it highlighted both the strengths and limits of its maritime empire, while for Sparta, It showed that land supremacy alone couldn't easily subdue a sea-controlling rival. But the peace was fleeting. The Archidamian War's end was only the start of a longer, more brutal conflict. The fragile Peace of Nicias soon crumbled, leading into a renewed phase of the Peloponnesian War, the final, decisive struggle for Greece. Thank you for watching this journey through the first phase of the Peloponnesian War, the Archidamian War. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please consider subscribing to History Orlog for more detailed narratives of history's greatest wars and battles. Your support means a lot and keeps this channel thriving. Share your thoughts on this video in the comments, and let us know which battles or historical conflicts you'd like to see next. Until next time, keep exploring the past and stay tuned for the next chapter in the epic tale of the Peloponnesian War.